Sit close, dear one, and listen not with fear but with awareness. Time does not merely wrinkle the skin, it slowly shapes the mind, the tone of our voice, the space around our presence. Aging is a sacred journey, yet along this path, there are habits that quietly grow like unnoticed weeds. No one warns us about them because they do not shout, they whisper, and in their whispering they gently push people away. First, there is the habit of constant complaining. When every sunrise becomes a burden and every conversation bends toward pain, people begin to feel heavy in our presence. Suffering is natural, but clinging to it is optional. The Buddha teaches that attachment to suffering multiplies it. Second, repeating the same stories again and again, not to share wisdom but to relive importance. Stories should serve insight, not ego. Third, dismissing new ideas. When we say in our time things were better, we close the door to growth. A closed mind becomes a closed heart. Fourth, offering advice without being asked. Wisdom is powerful, but forced wisdom feels like control. Fifth, holding grudges like precious possessions. The heart that refuses to forgive becomes too crowded for love. Sixth, judging the younger generation harshly. Every generation walks a different path. Compassion bridges the gap, criticism widens it. Seventh, neglecting personal hygiene or appearance out of resignation. Self-respect from others. Eighth, speaking more than listening. Silence is a greater teacher than speech. Ninth, resisting change in small daily routines, creating tension over simple matters. Passability keeps relationships breathing. 10th, turning every discussion into a competition of suffering. You are tired. Let me tell you how tired I am. This closes empathy. 11th, isolating oneself emotionally while expecting others to understand. Love requires openness. 12th, becoming overly suspicious or mistrusting without cause. Fear builds invisible walls. 13th, defining identity only by the past, former titles, former beauty, former power. The present moment is the only true possession. And 14th, losing curiosity. When curiosity dies, connection fades. A curious heart remains young. Beloved soul, aging is not what pushes people away. Unawareness does. The body may slow, but the spirit can soften. The hair may turn white, but the heart can remain warm. Each day is an opportunity to release one small habit and replace it with mindfulness. Instead of complaining, practice gratitude. Instead of judging, practice understanding. Instead of clinging to the past, breathe into this moment. Remember, a peaceful presence attracts others more than youthful beauty ever could. Become like a quiet lake, deep, reflective and calm. Those who come near you should feel lighter, not heavier. It is a refinement, but refinement requires awareness. Walk gently, speak kindly, let go often, and you will never push anyone away. Unawareness, not aging, pushes people away. Growing older is natural and beautiful, but unconscious habits like complaining, judging and resisting change create distance in relationships, not age itself. Growing older is not what creates distance between hearts, it is the quiet loss of awareness that does so. Age itself is a sacred transformation. The body changes, the hair turns silver, the steps may slow, but none of these push people away. What creates separation are the unnoticed habits that grow within us when we stop observing ourselves. When awareness fades, reactions replace reflection, and small behaviors slowly build invisible walls between us and others. As the years pass, it becomes easy to justify negativity. Complaints begin to feel normal. Criticism feels like wisdom. Resistance to change feels like strength. Yet these patterns, repeated daily, create heaviness in our presence. People are naturally drawn to lightness, to peace, to those who make them feel understood and accepted. When someone constantly speaks of problems without gratitude, corrects others without kindness, or dismisses new ideas without curiosity, the energy around them becomes tight and uncomfortable. Others may not argue or confront, they simply step back quietly. Unawareness also shows itself in the refusal to adapt. Every generation sees the world differently. Technology changes, language evolves, social norms shift. When we cling to how things used to be and reject what is new, we create distance. The young feel judged, misunderstood, or small. But when we approach change with openness, even if we do not fully agree, we build bridges instead of barriers. There is also the subtle habit of centering every conversation around personal suffering or past glory. When listening disappears and only speaking remains, connection weakens. True closeness is born from mutual exchange, from curiosity, empathy, and presence. Mindfulness is the remedy. When we observe our tone, our reactions, and our patterns, we regain choice. Instead of complaining, we can express gratitude. Instead of criticizing, we can guide gently. Instead of resisting change, we can learn something new. Awareness softens the ego and opens the heart. Aging, when lived consciously, becomes magnetic. A person who grows older with humility, warmth, and emotional balance becomes a source of comfort. It is not wrinkles that repel others, it is rigidity. It is not grey hair that distances people, it is a hardened heart. When awareness remains alive, aging becomes beautiful and our presence becomes a place where others feel calm, respected, and welcomed. Attachment to ego and the past blocks connection, repeating old stories for validation. Defining yourself by past achievements or comparing generations closes the heart and limits growth in the present moment. As the years pass, One of the quiet habits that begins to form is attachment to who we used to be. The mind gently drifts backward, revisiting old victories, old struggles, old identities. We repeat stories not always to teach, but to relive a time when we felt powerful, admired, or needed. Without realizing it, we begin to anchor our worth in the past. And when the present does not mirror that former importance, the ego feels threatened. There is nothing wrong with remembering. Memory is a beautiful garden. But when we live inside that garden and refuse to step into the present moment, others begin to feel unseen. Conversations become one-sided. Instead of asking, "How are you growing?" we respond with, "In my time we did it better." This subtle comparison creates distance. It may sound like wisdom, but it often carries judgment, and judgment quietly closes hearts. Attachment to the past also shows itself in resistance to new ways of thinking. New ideas can feel uncomfortable because they challenge long-held beliefs. But when we automatically dismiss them, we send a message: only my experience matters. Younger generations or even peers may stop sharing their thoughts. They may feel that dialogue is pointless. Thus, connection weakens. The ego loves familiarity. It clings to titles once held, roles once played, the respected professional, the admired parent, the attractive youth. When these identities shift, insecurity may arise. Instead of accepting transformation, we may try to control conversations, offer unsolicited advice, or subtly compete for relevance. This grasping energy can feel heavy to others. The Buddha teaches that suffering arises from attachment. When we cling to who we were, we resist who we are becoming. Life is change. Seasons shift without apology. The tree does not mourn its green leaves in autumn, it lets them fall with grace. In the same way, we are invited to release outdated versions of ourselves. When we loosen our grip on the past, something beautiful happens. We become curious again. We begin to listen rather than lecture. We share stories as offerings, not as proof of superiority. Humility replaces comparison. The present moment becomes enough. True wisdom is not loudly declaring what once was. It is quietly embracing what is. And when we live in the now, free from ego's need for validation, others feel safe, valued, and genuinely connected in our presence. Compassion and flexibility keep relationships alive, letting go of grudges, avoiding harsh judgment, listening more, and staying open to new ideas create emotional warmth that draws people closer. Compassion and flexibility are the quiet fragrances of a wise heart. As we grow older, the world around us changes in ways we did not expect. Customs evolve, language shifts, technology advances, and relationships take new forms. If the mind becomes rigid, it begins to resist these changes. And in that resistance, tension is born. But when the heart remains flexible, connection continues to flow like a river that gently adjusts to every curve in its path. One common habit that pushes people away is harsh judgment, especially toward younger generations. It is easy to say they are careless or they do not understand real struggle. Yet every generation carries its own burdens. When we judge without seeking to understand, we build a wall. Compassion, however, builds a bridge. When we choose to listen instead of criticize, we create space for mutual respect. Another silent divider is the refusal to forgive. Holding grudges may feel like holding on to justice, but in truth it is holding on to pain. Over time, bitterness hardens the voice and sharpens the tone. Others may feel they are walking on fragile ground around us. Forgiveness does not mean approving of wrong actions, it means freeing the heart from the weight of resentment. A lighter heart welcomes closeness. Flexibility also appears in small daily moments. Perhaps plans change unexpectedly. Perhaps traditions are adjusted. Perhaps someone chooses a path we would not have chosen for them. When we react with anger or stubbornness over minor shifts, others may feel controlled. But when we respond with calm understanding, we signal emotional safety. People are drawn to those who allow them to breathe. Listening is another form of compassion. When we truly listen without interrupting, correcting, or preparing our next response, we tell the other person, "You matter." In contrast, when we dominate conversations or dismiss feelings, we quietly create distance. The tree that bends with the wind does not break. In the same way, a flexible spirit remains strong. Aging can deepen compassion rather than shrink it. They can soften the voice rather than harden it. When we replace judgment with curiosity, stubbornness with openness, and resentment with forgiveness, our presence becomes gentle and inviting. A compassionate and flexible heart does not lose authority, it gains influence. People do not move away from kindness, they move toward it. And in that gentle movement, relationships remain alive and warm. Emotional lightness attracts others. Constant negativity, competition in suffering, or unnecessary advice makes others feel heavy. Gratitude, curiosity, and mindful speech make your presence peaceful and welcoming. Air is a quiet energy that surrounds every human being. Some presences feel heavy while others feel light. As we grow older, the emotional atmosphere we carry becomes even more noticeable. Without awareness, we may develop habits that create emotional weight, constant negativity, repeated complaints, or turning every conversation toward our own suffering. Though these habits may seem harmless, they slowly push people away, not because others lack care, but because the heart naturally seeks spaces where it can breathe. When every discussion circles back to problems, disappointments, or comparisons of who has suffered more, connection weakens. If someone shares their exhaustion and we respond with, "You think you're tired? Let me tell you how tired I am," we unintentionally close the door to empathy. Pain is not a competition. When conversations become contests of hardship, mutual understanding fades. People begin to feel unseen rather than supported. Negativity also shapes perception. If we constantly expect the worst in situations or in people, our tone changes. Even neutral events are interpreted through a lens of doubt or dissatisfaction. Over time, others may hesitate to share good news, fearing it will be met with criticism or pessimism. Joy shrinks in environments where appreciation is absent. Emotional lightness does not mean pretending that life is perfect. It means choosing balance. It means acknowledging difficulty without drowning in it. Gratitude plays a powerful role here. When we intentionally notice small blessings, a kind word, a warm meal, a peaceful evening, our energy softens. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it prevents pain from defining every interaction. Mindful speech is equally important. Words carry weight. A gentle response can uplift a tired heart, while a sharp remark can linger for days. As we age, our words often carry authority. When that authority is wrapped in kindness, it attracts closeness. When wrapped in complaint or criticism, it creates quiet distance. Curiosity also brings lightness. Asking others about their dreams, listening to their experiences, celebrating their progress, these actions make people feel valued. Emotional lightness is deeply magnetic because it offers relief from the burdens of daily life. A peaceful presence is not built on youth or appearance. It is built on emotional balance. When we choose gratitude over complaint, empathy over competition, and encouragement over criticism, our presence becomes a refuge. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel lighter, understood, and uplifted. And in that lightness, relationships flourish gently and naturally. Aging should be a process of inner refinement. True wisdom in later years comes from self-awareness, humility, forgiveness, and a soft heart, becoming like a calm lake where others feel safe and understood. Aging, when understood deeply, is not a decline but a refinement. Just as gold is purified by fire, the human spirit is refined by time. Yet refinement does not happen automatically. It requires awareness, humility, and a willingness to soften where we have become rigid. Without this inner work, age may only add years to the body, not wisdom to the heart. True refinement begins with self-observation. Over time, habits solidify. Reactions become predictable. Opinions become fixed. If we stop examining ourselves, we may mistake stubbornness for strength and pride for dignity. But wisdom is gentle. It does not need to prove itself in every conversation. A refined soul speaks less, listens more, and chooses words with care. Humility is another mark of inner growth. When we accept that we are still learning even in later years, we remain open to life. The moment we believe we know everything, growth stops. Humility allows us to apologize when needed, to admit mistakes, and to respect perspectives different from our own. This softness does not reduce our value, it deepens it. Forgiveness also polishes the heart. Carrying resentment into old age hardens the spirit. The weight of unresolved anger shows in the eyes, the voice, the posture. Letting go is not weakness, it is liberation. When we forgive, we free ourselves first. A light heart shines quietly and others feel safe within its presence. Emotional balance becomes more important as the years pass. Younger people may be forgiven for impulsiveness, but maturity invites steadiness. A calm response in moments of tension creates trust. When others see that we do not react with unnecessary anger or drama, they feel secure around us. Curiosity keeps the soul young. Refinement does not mean withdrawing from the world, it means engaging with it wisely. Learning new ideas, understanding new cultures, asking sincere questions, these actions keep the mind alive and relationships vibrant. Aging beautifully is not about preserving youth, it is about deepening character. Wrinkles may appear on the skin, but bitterness does not have to appear in the heart. When we cultivate patience, kindness, and self-awareness, we become like a quiet lamp in a dark room, not demanding attention, yet offering steady light. This is true refinement, not louder but softer, not rigid but flexible, not proud but peaceful. And in that peaceful presence, people do not drift away, they draw closer with trust and respect.